No, I met him at the airport for the first time. We were both getting on the plane to go to Calgary, and I looked in his eyes. I still know that image of him in my brain. Like, you just know sometimes. I said to my best friend 2 weeks in, I forgot that I said this to her, and I said, I will know him for the rest of my life.
She was already in a serious relationship when she met him, but something told her she would know this man for the rest of her life. So what made Kirsten Dunst walk away from a 3-year relationship for her co-star? They played husband and wife on screen twice, but for almost 5 years, they couldn't seem to make it official in real life. What kept Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons from walking down the aisle for so long? At her own Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, Jesse Plemons accidentally called Kirsten Dunst his wife, leaving the entire world convinced they had secretly eloped. So had they? Stick around because the answer might surprise you. Love stories don't always start in the most straightforward way. Sometimes the person who is meant to be your forever shows up at exactly the wrong time. That is exactly what happened to Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons. It was the year 2015 when Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons were both cast in the massively popular television series Fargo, where they played, fittingly enough, husband and wife. Now here's the thing. At the time, Kirsten was not single. She had been in a relationship with actor Garrett Hedlund for just over 3 years. By all public appearances, things were going well. Kirsten and Garrett had become a recognizable red carpet couple. They spoke openly about their relationship, and she had even told the world that she was thinking about starting a family. Back in 2014, she shared, "I'm in baby mode because 2 of them. Why really good friends are pregnant right now. 33 is a good age to have your first baby." So by the looks of it, Kirsten and Garrett were building a future together. But then she met Jesse Plemons, and something shifted. Kirsten later admitted that she felt an immediate and undeniable connection with Jesse the moment they were introduced. She wasn't entirely sure what it meant at the time, and she was certainly not in a position to act on it given that she was still with Garrett. But deep down, something told her that this person was different. She confessed, "I didn't remember saying this, but one of my best friends told me that I said to her that I will know this man for the rest of my life. I just know it." That is a remarkable thing to feel about someone you've only just met, but Kirsten couldn't shake it. In early 2016, Kirsten was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actress for her role in Fargo. Garrett accompanied her to the ceremony as her date, and the two appeared happy in front of the cameras. But just a couple of months after that evening, the relationship came to an end. And then, only 2 months after her breakup from Garrett, Kirsten was spotted kissing Jesse Plemons, and the world started connecting the dots. What the public didn't fully understand at the time was just how long Kirsten had been carrying those feelings. She had kept them close to her chest, not sharing them with anyone because, as she explained, she didn't entirely understand what they meant. After filming on Fargo Wrapped, she realized just how much she missed Jesse, far more than she had anticipated. She later reflected, "I just knew he would be in my life forever. I didn't know what capacity that would be at the time." There was, however, a moment of genuine hesitation for both of them. Because they had played husband and wife on screen, they had to ask themselves a very honest question. Was the connection real, or was it simply a product of the intense work they had done together? Thankfully, once they explored those feelings outside of the set, they discovered very quickly that what they had was entirely genuine. Jesse had previously described working with Dunst as a gift, which made it clear that the admiration between them was completely mutual. At the beginning of 2017, Jesse Plemons got down on one knee, though the circumstances of the proposal were not exactly the romantic movie moment you might imagine. Kirsten confirmed their engagement on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, laughing as she recalled, "I was a little sick when he did it, which was funny." She also joked that she had a feeling it was coming because, as she put it, "I could tell. My dad stays at Christmas. He's a bad liar." The lighthearted way she talked about it said everything. This was a relationship built on humor, honesty, and genuine ease. Just a few months after the engagement, Kirsten sat down with Marie Claire and spoke candidly about wanting to become a mother. She shared, "It's time to have babies and chill." She explained that she had never truly felt that pull toward motherhood until her goddaughter was born, and from that moment, she was completely hooked. She described that kind of love as something you simply cannot experience unless you have a child of your own. So it came as no surprise to anyone when, about a year later, Kirsten announced that she was pregnant. She later admitted that because of her age, she had worried it might be harder to conceive than it turned out to be, saying, "If I hadn't met Jesse, I would have frozen my eggs, but it feels like I lucked out." In May of 2018, Kirsten and Jesse welcomed their first son, whom they named Ennis Howard Plemons. When asked about how they chose the name, Kirsten explained, "It's like an old cowboy name. We found it online, on those baby websites where you just keep scrolling. We were like, we like that. It sounds cool." During an interview in 2019, Kirsten reflected on meeting Jesse back in 2015 and said she knew he was going to be her soulmate, adding that he was her favorite actor. Around that same time, the couple attended Kirsten's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, and this is where things got interesting. Jesse took to the podium to speak about Kirsten and delivered a genuinely moving speech. He recalled the very first time they met while waiting for a flight at Los Angeles International Airport, saying he remembered every single detail of their exchange. He said, "I looked into her eyes and saw the beautiful, sweet, unguarded, welcoming human being that she is." He called it truly an instant thing. In response, Kirsten turned to him and said, "You are my everything, and I never thought I would have a partner that understands me the way that you do." But then came the moment that sent the internet into a spiral. During his speech, Jesse referred to Kirsten as his wife. Naturally, everyone assumed that the two had secretly tied the knot without telling anyone. Kirsten had to clear things up during an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, clarifying that Jesse was still her fiancé and that they were, in fact, still not married. The couple had been engaged for about 2 years at that point and had already had a child together, and yet the wedding still hadn't happened. When asked why, Kirsten joked with her characteristic humor, "We're about as married as you can get. We have a kid together." She also explained her personal reasoning for not wanting to rush it, saying she didn't want to get married while pregnant, adding, "I want to have fun and have a drink. I mean, we're paying for this wedding. I'm paying for the bar. I want to enjoy it." At the start of 2020, Kirsten and Jesse packed up their lives and flew to New Zealand with their son Ennis to film the highly anticipated movie Power of the Dog, where, once again, they were cast as husband and wife. Kirsten spoke about how natural it felt to work with Jesse again, sharing, "We love working together, so it's really, really easy to work with each other." She added that there was no ego between them on set, saying, "No one judges anybody. It's just how do we make this the most alive together and the most real." Then the pandemic hit. The couple found themselves in lockdown in New Zealand, where they rented a house with a garden for Ennis to run around in. Kirsten described their evening routine with a smile, sharing, "That's what Jesse and I will do when we get home. Wash our hands, put the baby to bed, and sit in the triangle," referring to a cozy spot in their home where they would sit together and listen to music. Power of the Dog earned Kirsten a Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination. And it was during this chapter that she told Jesse she was ready to expand their family. She said, "I was like, as soon as we are done with this movie, let's try and have another baby." In early 2021, Kirsten announced her second pregnancy on the cover of W magazine, and later that year, she gave birth to their second son, James Robert Plemons. She described him as an angel, but a hungry angel and a heavy angel, joking that he weighed 22 pounds at 7 months old and that she had developed an eye twitch from sleep deprivation. And then, in July of 2022, nearly 5 years after their engagement, Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons finally made it official. The couple got married in Jamaica at the luxurious GoldenEye Resort. True to form, the wedding was private, small, and deeply intimate. Very few details were released to the public, which felt entirely on brand for a couple who had always prioritized keeping their love story close to their hearts. From a chance meeting on the set of Fargo to building a beautiful family and eventually walking down the aisle in paradise, Kirsten and Jesse's love story is proof that when something is real, it doesn't need to be rushed. It just needs to be right.